Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sunny Side. I'm Sunny, and today I'm going to rank the top comedians of the Zodiac. Alright, as always, first things first. If you want to skip the blah blah and head directly to the list, I put links in the timestamps in the description box below, so feel free to click ahead and I'll catch up with you later on in the video. Right, next, as always, the list is based in astrology, and I did do a little research, but as always, it's kind of a bit subjective as well. So if you have your own lists or comments, then feel free to leave them in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to read out the best ones on the weekly love horoscopes that come out every Thursday right here on this channel. Alright, everybody cool? Let's begin. Alright, here's the criteria. I knew the top sign, just to let you know, I did know the top sign going in, right? And it's not what you'd think. And, I could have probably done the list off the top of my head, but definitely I would have been wrong, alright? And with the help of my it's simple, but it's not that easy. And with the help of my sexy little crab, we went ahead and we compiled a list of 80 comedians. That's a lot, guys. And they've mostly been from the last 20 to 30 years. So, the list is obviously a bit subjective, but the trends don't lie. Now, in addition to the sun signs, I also had a look at the moon signs, the Venus signs, and the Mars signs, because there's a theory that's floating around the astrology world that it's actually the Venus and a little bit of the Mars sign that makes someone funny. Like, seriously. Anyways, I looked at the numbers myself, and it wasn't easy. Different websites had contradictory moon signs and different signs for some of the comedians, so I kind of went ahead and I looked up every single one of these guys in the ephemeris, and I noted it down and had it because, well, I'm a professional astrologer and I can read an ephemeris, right? Okay, what else? Honey? Okay, so in addition to the planets and the individual signs, there's another theory that's floating around the astrology world that humor is actually some kind of aspect between Mercury and Uranus, which is kind of interesting because Mercury or Uranus is the same aspect that we use when we're trying to identify someone who has a genius level intelligence, which is very different from the really, 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 really smart guys. The really smart guys are Jupiter or Venus aspecting Mercury. So once again, I thought this was interesting. So the comedy and for the geniuses, it's the same aspect, and it's Mercury, Uranus. Alright, what else? Okay, but there is a little more. So far, we have the common pop culture astrology beliefs, right? We have we also have Venus in the signs, and we also have the Mercury-Uranus link. Now, I didn't have everyone's birth time, obviously, right? So I had to throw out the ascendant and the house, which was kind of sucked, because it's kind of interesting, and I kind of wanted to have a look at it, to see what was going on. But whatever, this list is supposed to be for fun. It's not a university-funded project, so whatever. Alright, next, what else? This criteria is a lot, man. This is a tough list. Alright, next. Humor is also subjective, which means the things that one person deems funny may or may not appeal to someone else, right? Like, seriously. So, because of that, I had to throw away the Mercury-Uranus thing as well, alright? So I threw out the ascendant and the houses, and although it is one of the things we look for in a personal chart, I kind of had to throw out the Mercury-Uranus thing. But obviously, I left the sun signs and I left the moon signs, and for my own benefit, I had to look at the Mars and Venus signs, because that's something that astrologers look at, and we've been talking about it for a while, so I thought I'd have a look. Anyways, all of this was done with professional comedians. So class clowns and your funny Uncle Fred, they may or may not make the list. And whether you realize it or not, professional comedy is a very tough gig. I'm the love hypnotist, remember, and I own the music studio, so I know a little bit about I know more than a little bit about the entertainment industry, and it's a tough gig, and you'll see that there are skills and disciplines required for professional comedy that some of the naturally funny guys just don't have. So, and if you think about it, you'll realize it kind of makes sense. So, just because someone's naturally funny doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make the list, but that's pretty cool because anyone from any sign can be funny. Seriously, except Capricorn. That was just joke. Okay, alright, so that's the criteria, everyone. Let's get down to the list. Alright, place your bets, everyone. Let's check out the action. Number 5 on today's list is a fire sign that definitely has the gas to survive the entertainment industry. You know, comedy's a tough life, right? You know, it's a tough biz. And you have to, like, totally 100% have some kind of this action or energy or vibe in your chart to survive the rotten tomatoes and keep going. And that is number 5, Aries. Yeah, like, seriously, come on, guys. You know, when we looked at the stats, some eyebrows were raised. Like, mostly mine. I was like, huh? Okay? But it does make sense. Aries is the number 1 competitive sign, and there's almost nothing more competitive than professional entertainment. Almost every person on the planet wants to be a rock star or a YouTuber or a movie star or generally be famous for something. But I'm telling you guys, if you don't already know, it's not that easy. Talent isn't enough. Hard work isn't enough. Money will not guarantee success. You know, the right connections or like a great idea individually is not enough. I'm sorry, guys, it's just not enough. You have to flat out have all of that action. All of it has got to be peaking, because in the entertainment industry or showbiz or professional comedy, when you're standing at the crossroads and Scratch politely asks you to step into the mic and sing us all a story, like, very seriously, you're only going to get one chance to make the bad man cry. And if you can't do that every single time, and I'm just telling you, I'm quite certain you can't, then you're going to have skin as tough as Aries to survive the hellfire that's going to come totally raining down on your dreams. And guys, when you're standing there, it is personal and it hurts. Just letting you know that in front. And you're going to have some of this Aries action to pick yourself up and keep going. And, you know, time and time again. Once again, this game hurts on a very personal level. And even the best of the best starve at some time. And the best sign at taking the hits and keep going is, quite sincerely, it's Aries, right? All right. On the list, that my sexy little crab and I compiled, Aries ranked tied for second place in moon signs, which means emotionally, the top comedians have a competitive and never give up emotional edge. You know, and simply other people just don't have it. And this should be obvious. Number 5, biggest comedian of the Zodiac, it's Aries. All right, now having said all of that, let's slide an honorable mention in here because, something did come up in the stats. So, astrologically, right, humor is some kind of Mercury-Uranus kind of aspect. And that would mean that somewhere along the line, one of our super brainers and genius level kind of guys, Aquarius, is going to pop up somewhere. And in this list, in the stats, they sure did. All right, check it out. I had Aquarius ranked top 5, just to let you guys know. But the stats said no. But many, many comedians who had Aries in their chart also had Aquarius in there somewhere as well. And actually, it's kind of more the other way around, right? The guys who had Aquarius energy, actually, almost many of them had Aries energy in the chart as well. It's how Aries made the list and Aquarius didn't. Plus, you got to have tough skin to last this biz. And anyways, I thought that was an interesting note, so I'm bringing it up. No, Aquarius did not make the list today, but they definitely get an honorable mention. All right, back to the list. Next up is another fire sign that many casual fans of astrology would definitely rank higher. They're fun, sexy, playful, adventurous, really, really, really smart. And that's number 4, Sagittarius. All right, now, I already know that many people would rank Sagittarius higher based solely on astrology, right? Often because, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. But that's not necessarily how it works, okay? Let's first recognize that humor is subjective, okay? And no one sign is actually funnier than the other. Like, that's just stupid, okay? Next, humor is a combination of a couple separate astrological elements that Sagittarius simply doesn't have. I'm just saying. And finally, back to Jupiter. Jupiter is boisterous, it's gregarious, it's loud, and it's also benevolent, and it can't be controlled. So a healthy sun in Sagittarius, well, they like to enjoy themselves. And they're smart enough to keep the conversation running smoothly in party mode because, well, Jupiter kind of rules big holiday celebrations. No big deal. But to categorically say that Sagittarius is the most fun and comedic sign implies that other playful signs, like a fire sign like Leo, isn't. And Leo very, very, very much can be. So I'm not saying anyone is out to lunch on this, but it does require, a deeper and more disciplined understanding of what's going on. Anyways, Jupiter is boisterous, and Sagittarius can be class clowns. Yes, definitely. But professionally, not so much. Okay. And double finally, Sagittarius is a straight shooting sign. They go right to the point. And humor is very much the opposite of straight shooting. Humor is a roundabout progression that leads us in one direction only to have us realize we're actually somewhere else. When we get to the punchline, we're going like this and the punchline hits and we're like, oh, we're over here, ha ha ha. That's what humor is. And that is, that's not Sagittarius action. Sagittarius is like, boom, right there. So, not that it's, neither here or there, but it's something to keep in mind because it's exactly the fundamental communication style of our top signs on the list today. All right, what else? Okay, well, personally, I love Sag, right? Like, obviously I do. And we constantly joke. But it's kind of the same thing as Pisces being psychic, There's more to it than you'd think off the top of your head. Now, having said all of that, Sagittarius did rank number 1 in moon signs. So they definitely have the emotional gas to keep the party going. And they tied rank for 3rd in sun sign, which is, kind of where I had them ranked going in. They only slipped a notch because our next sign absolutely blew everyone away in the astrological category that many astrologers believe necessitate a humorous disposition in an astrological chart. So today anyways, the stats don't lie. These guys are really fun, they're extremely playful, they're great to party with. Number 4. Biggest comedian of the Zodiac is Sagittarius. Alright, everyone cool with that? I sure hope so. Okay, next. Well, we all know, or you should know, that brains are sexy. But this is not the sexy list. Okay, whatever. Okay. Anyways, and to get on today's list, you've got to have a little bit of intellectual gas. All of these guys are smart here. And number 3 on our list today has enough cerebral action to lay some jokes game on almost anyone. And that is Gemini. Okay, now, that's number 3, Gemini. Okay, now obviously Gemini is a brainer, right? That's ruled by Mercury. So it's no surprise that they have some pretty strong jokes game. And they're also known as the tricksters of the Zodiac, which means for better or worse, or whether they mean it or not. Gemini always be messing with you guys. Alright, but there's more. I thought going into this, Venus in Sagittarius would be the major indicator of what we'd find here. But I was wrong, just saying. It wasn't Venus in Sagittarius at all. It was actually Venus in Gemini by a long, long shot. It was by a huge margin. Anyways, what else? Gemini ranked tied for 3rd in sun sign, tied for 2nd in moon sign, tied for 2nd in Mars sign. You guys got that? That's a lot, And once again, they blew away the entire field in the Venus sign thing. And Gemini isn't goofy, and they're not necessarily aggressive or competitive. They're not magnanimous. Gemini's not like that. Actually, they're the total opposite of Sagittarius in almost every single way. Look at it like, they're opposite of Sag. Look at it like this. Sagittarius, Sagittarius wants to have sex outdoors, right? But Gemini, they want to do it in a car. Sagittarius, what am I saying? Gemini wants to do it in a car, cruising on the highway while surfing the internet. Alright? Okay, well, it's not relevant, right? But just saying. Gemini and Sag aren't, they're kind of opposite. What else? Okay, Gemini is the queen of dark humor. They're social and chatty sign, but they're not goody-goodies. No, they're not constant complainers, but they do get bored super easily. And once again, Gemini loves to mess with you. Now, I initially didn't have them ranked this high up, right? But Gemini was always going to make this list. Number 3, biggest comedian in the Zodiac, Gemini. All right, cruising along. Next up, number 2 on the list today is another brainer, you know? But this one is a little different. Everyone kind of makes the list in their own, for their own unique approach and unique way. Okay, shut up. Okay. Anyways, very often, or let's say, very often humor, or let's say, or laughter, let's say, is used to mask nervous emotions. And although if you ask them if they're nervous, they'll probably say no, right? But they do see all of the details both in and out of place, and that can upset anyone. And well, they sure look nervous. And that is number 2, Virgo. Yep, like serious, very, very easily. Virgo ranked number 2 in sun signs, number 3 in Venus signs, and way, way out in front in Mars signs, which shouldn't surprise anyone because Virgos bitch about absolutely everything. And, you know, I guess modern comedy really is about bitching and complaining. And that's Mars energy digging really deep with some hardcore Virgo action. Pretty neat, huh? It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. And truthfully guys, I didn't have Virgo on the list at all. You know, I learned something from these lists as well. And of course, a little research goes a long way. All right, what else? Well, we all know comedy's created by brainers, right? So we can check Virgo with that. Virgo's obviously a brainer. Now, laughter is also used to mask nervous emotions. It's Virgo as well. Check, check. Professional comedy is also a very tough daily grind to survive. And well, Virgo's the sign of diligent work. Check, check, check. What else? Okay, well, Virgo's also really sexy and they take care of their bodies. And they're also really kinky, right? All right, okay, well, none of that's really necessary for comedy, you know, not necessarily, but I like it and it's my list, so check and check. Okay, now, as I was creating the list, a couple of interesting points came up. We had the aggressive and competitive nature of Aries. We had the jubilance and magnanimity of Sagittarius. We have the brains and trickster nature of Gemini, and with Virgo, we have laughter as a coping mechanism and to add levity to an out-of-order world. To put it bluntly, Virgo sees a complete picture of the way things should be, and it upsets and scares them sometimes, you know? And comedy, well, it's just a lighthearted way of telling everybody that they're screwing everything up, you know, from a Virgo perspective anyways. Anyways, I like Virgos, and if I had to choose between, you know, their constant bitching or a world filled with satire, I'd take the jokes any day of the week. And with that, our number 2 biggest comedian of the Zodiac is Virgo, guys. Stats don't lie today. What else? What do you mean, what else? Oh, here we go. Anyways, that brings us to our number 1 biggest comedian of the Zodiac. And once again, I knew this going in, and a lot of people know this is common knowledge, okay? And it goes beyond astrology. And you know, the stats actually did back it up. And if you think about it, you will see that it's a lock. But let's take a moment and think about it, you know? When I'm writing the astrology and I'm telling you guys things, I always say, you know, these guys are shy and quiet sometimes and they do all this weird kind of stuff. But I also say they absolutely love jokes, you know? Think about it. All right, here we go. If comedy is sideways thinking, right? Once again, comedy takes you in a direction, a joke takes you in a direction. When you get here, you actually find out that you're here, and that's the punchline, and that's the humor thing. All right? So, if comedy is sideways thinking and taking a roundabout way of getting to the punchline, well, guys, who's our number 1 roundabout way of communicating sign? You know, who is it? Good question. All right, here we go. Represented by the chariot in tarot, which is a fast but offensively useful weapon. What? Only if used from the side. They're psychic and effortlessly move between the physical world and the ethereal divine. They are super nurturing and they heal with humor. You know, Look at the moon, Sonny! Look at the moon! Cancer. Oh yeah, seriously. And here's why. More than any other sign, Cancer understands emotional pain and the personal suffering and sacrifice involved with nurturing others. They are one of the most dumped on and completely misunderstood signs. But instead of lashing out like, or hitting the freak like, instead of lashing out like Aries or hitting the freak like Aquarius or Sagittarius, or swimming away like Pisces or, instead of doing all of that, Cancer tucks into her shell and she takes the hit, And when she finally comes out swinging, it's usually with, it's usually with love. It's usually with understanding. It's usually with compassion. And it's almost always filled with laughter. Cancer far outranks any other sign in the stats department. And many, many comedians had both Virgo and Cancer energy in their charts. No, they didn't have the top Moon or Venus rankings, right? But a Sun in Cancer, alright, although emotionally oscillating, let's say, at the best of times, well, guys, you can't heal with hate. Just saying. You can't love and throw stones at the same time. But you can love, and you can heal, and you can nurture, and you can forgive, all while throwing water balloons. And that's exactly the action of Cancer. And more than any other sign, once again, Cancer has the ability to take the hit and come out loving. What else? Cancer is moody by nature, remember? And they get upset easily. And the things that can trigger a mood freak are literally anything and everything. But let's look at it another way. Cancer is the queen of passionate and intense emotional swings. And this means, yes, the tears can fall fast and hard, but they also know how to make it stop. Cancer is the moon, the big, bright, dreamy celestial body in the darkest of nights when no stars can be found. When no stars can be found, the moon still reflects the light of the sun. Cancer is always healing with love. And whether it's professionally over dinner, Cancer is one of our most jokiest signs. The jokes aren't always funny, right? But Cancer will always try. So with that, our number one biggest comedian of the Zodiac, our sexy little crab, and I super love you, Cancer. And that's the action, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I hope everyone had a good time. I learned a lot today. I learned a lot through studying this thing. Anyways, if you liked the video, then please give it a Scorpio didn't make the list. Give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with your friends on Facebook. Put it in a YouTube playlist. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel because every little bit helps support and I super appreciate it. And that's the action, guys. From thesunnyside.net, I'm Sunny, wishing everyone the absolute best of a beautiful week. And I'll see you soon.